Since 2003, this is the Sports Source, East Tennessee's #1 sports talk show.
Brought to you by Junk Be Gone and the Garza Law Firm.
With your host, John Pennington. The Sports Source starts now.
Good Sunday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source. We appreciate you being here with us. If I have red marks on my face, it's because I stupidly forgot to take my mask off until about 5 seconds ago. So that's why I might have marks there. If not, I just mentioned that for nothing. We have a big show for you today. We're going to talk a lot of football, wrap up the fall season, obviously start with bowl projections, where are they going, that kind of thing. Then we're going to shift gears. Mark Pankratz and Isaiah Victor will be here, and we're going to talk about Tennessee basketball and the good quality road win they got yesterday at Colorado. Like I say, packed show. Let's dive in. First segment of our program brought to you by the folks at the Garza Law Firm. It's the time for holiday parties, office parties, and that often means drinking. I encourage you not to drink and drive, but if you make that mistake, turn to the Garza Law Firm for help. If you drink, don't drive. But if you do, and you find yourself in serious trouble, trust the local team of attorneys who can help you out. That's the Garza Law Firm, and Marcos Garza has been doing it for many, many years right here in East Tennessee. GarzaLaw.com to learn more. All right, let's welcome in the panel, the first part of our panel today, the football crew. We have Josh Ward from 99.1 The Sports Animal. It's becoming more natural for me now to get it out that way.
Good.
Josh, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Marlon Walls, VFL, former Vol player. Also, you're not the first to do it. I know it's killing you. Forgot the jacket today. It's happened. It's happened. Will Overstreet, another former Vol down there, VFL. Thanks for being here.
Thanks.
And right down there, Vince Ferrara from 99.1 The Sports Animal. Vince, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, John.
Good to have you. All right. Later today, Tennessee and the rest of the 13 SEC Bowl-eligible teams are going to find out their fate. As you know, the big bowls pluck the teams they want. And then there's kind of that middle section of SEC teams that wind up making a request of the conference commissioner. And they say, we'd like this one, and this one. And then somebody else says, well, we'd like this one, this one, this one. Greg Sankey, and maybe a team, but a group at the SEC office then try to get together and say, well, this bowl wants them, and they want that. Let's match them. And these both want the same bowl, but we took care of them last year. Let's screw them this year and help this team. It's a silly process, and nobody's really good at projecting the stuff, but so many people are. We're going to get in on that game. Let's take a look right now at what the SEC's bowl lineup looks like. Alabama is probable to be your new #1 in the college football playoff after they beat Georgia yesterday. Georgia also 12-1. They're now down probably to the #3 slot would be the guess. So that would make it Alabama versus Cincinnati in one semi, Georgia versus Michigan in the other. Probably, but we'll see. Ole Miss is pretty much a lock, most people believe, to the Sugar Bowl, especially with Alabama winning yesterday. Kentucky is probable to the Citrus. It's not locked in. They could drop into that pool of 6 just below it if the Citrus Bowl decided, you know, we had Kentucky a few years ago. Let's get Arkansas or Texas A&M in here. Don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible. More than likely, your pool of 6 teams are kind of Arkansas, Texas A&M, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and then you can take your pick of the others. My guess is South Carolina and Auburn will rank ahead of Florida and LSU with new coaches. Missouri's down there. A lot of people are targeting them for a non-SEC bowl because you're out of bowl slots. So it's possible not all 13 teams go, but they're adding bowls for the smaller teams. It's more than likely that everybody goes on that list. Vince, you've spoken to a number of bowl reps this week about Tennessee. What do they find attractive? What are you hearing about the bowls and how they're viewing Tennessee this offseason?
Well, a lot of the things that you would expect, that everyone would love to have Tennessee at a bowl game, the success of Tennessee this first season, how they draw so well. And, you know, they talked about and gave examples of some schools that it depends on the circumstances on whether they will draw and have people come and travel to see them in a bowl game. And they don't really feel that way about Tennessee, that they will deliver each and every year. Talking about the process, it really made me change my opinion of where Tennessee would go.
Well, don't throw it out yet.
Right, but it just in general, I thought because of the things that they talked about in how the importance of record and slotting them, in trying to stay away from matchups, that we saw in the regular season, or trying to stay away from bringing a team back to a bowl game where they had been in a short period of time. I think that sort of helped form some of my opinions on where I think Tennessee will go.
Okay, well, let's take a look at some of the projections that are out there. I just picked some of the big media projections. There's a million out there. I didn't do Bleacher Report and some of that other stuff, but let's take a look. I saw a couple of projections, thus the number 2 there, for Outback Bowl versus Wisconsin, which that's about as good as Tennessee could get. Gator Bowl versus Clemson in one prediction versus Penn State in another prediction. Saw a small outlet that also had them against Indiana in the Gator Bowl. Haven't seen Mayo Bowl picks in the last day or two. That's kind of changed. Tons of people picked Tennessee for the Music City Bowl. I've seen now 3, saw another one this morning, so 3 have said Purdue, 2 have said Minnesota, and then another one this morning, so 2 have said Penn State. But that's what, 3, 2, and 2. That's 7 people saying Music City Bowl, so that's the odds-on favorite. One pick has West Virginia versus Tennessee in the Liberty Bowl, but half that group, and it's really 7 out of 13 if you add in the ones I saw this morning, most people see the Music City Bowl. Now, Vince, I'll allow you to tell us how your opinion has changed.
Well, Tennessee's not going to the Liberty Bowl. They're not getting past the Music City. I mean, come on. They can group it as a pool of 6 and the league will drop it in there, but they're not dropping them below the Music City because there is a tiering system there, in my opinion. I think it's the Music City for Tennessee, and the reason for that is because of the teams they could potentially match up with from the other conferences that have those bowl affiliations in the Florida Bowls. And then the fact that the other 2 teams that are 8-4 that Tennessee could potentially hop over in Arkansas and Texas A&M, neither one of them have been to the Outback Bowl.
Right.
And then there's the Gator Bowl as well, which I don't think Arkansas has ever been to. A&M could potentially hop a Kentucky because they've never been to the Citrus. And those are kind of the things that they did talk about that I think if the league is aware of them, I'm sure they are, then they're going to try to put these teams in different areas so they can have that excitement. Remember, they're doing all the bowl events this week, so I do think it's the Music City because they hadn't been there since 2016.
Gentlemen, what's the best? I mean, look, the best name on the board is the Outback Bowl. Tampa's probably the best venue. If you're looking for a vacation spot, Tampa's probably better than any of the others. And I would, if you're outside the market, I would say Nashville. But we're an hour and a half, 2 hours away. People have been to Nashville. That said, you tell me, in terms of what's best for the fan base, in terms of what's best for recruiting, in terms of just what's best as a reward for players, where would you send them, Josh? What's the best? What threads the needle best of all those bowl options for Tennessee?
I would say one of the Florida Bowls. That gets more excitement. Fans love making the trip to Florida. They've done it many times and would do it again to go down there and see the Vols. And I think it sends a message, even if things have changed a little bit the last few years of how the bowls are viewed a little bit from a tier system. You hear Florida Bowl, people think more highly of it.
Excited. I would say same thing, Florida Bowl. I think a possible matchup versus Clemson or Penn State sounds really, really appealing as a Tennessee fan, as a draw as far as tickets goes. It's a matchup we haven't seen in a long time, and I think people will be excited to see that one.
Will, you got an opinion on where you think the best fit would be?
I know where the players would want to go, the farthest flying distance, right? Because that's how much money they're going to get paid.
It all comes back to the dollar with you.
Always.
So they're going to want to go to one of the Florida games.
Texas Bowl.
They might want to
go to Houston,
But I think they would probably want to go to the Gator Bowl. I think, like you said, for the fans and everybody else, a Clemson or a Penn State matchup, wherever you go, and for recruiting purposes, is probably your best win. So how do you get that mixed in? But I can just tell you, the players are going to look at what's the furthest distance and what has the best bowl gifts, what has the best bowl package. That's what they're thinking about at the end of the day.
Yeah. It'd be interesting, one of the things I'm a big proponent of creating some sort of bowl draft where the bowls actually pick whoever they want and there are no ties. It just depends on you. Your slot in the draft depends on how much your payout is. And the reason I like that is you don't see the same teams every year. You're not locked in playing the same conferences. You don't have the same 5 towns you can go to. That said, when you throw out teams like Purdue and Minnesota, normally I would go, But Tennessee's only played them once. They played Purdue in a bowl in 1979. They played Minnesota in a bowl in '86. Does the fan base get excited, in your opinion, to place a mid-level Big Ten team, but it's a mid-level Big Ten team they haven't seen in a while? Does the fan base care about Purdue or Minnesota, or is it a yawn? Does it need to be Penn State? Does it need to be Clemson?
Yeah, I think it's probably a yawn because, especially if you're comparing to Penn State and Clemson, those are big names. You have James Franklin at Penn State, and fans hate him from his days at Vanderbilt. And then Clemson, they've taken some of your recruits. They wear orange. They're close by.
They have an offensive coordinator who turned down your coaching job, which left you with Josh Heupel.
Yeah, all that. I think a lot of fans don't like Dabo. So, yeah, that would be more exciting. Now, if you play Purdue and you play Minnesota and you beat them, then fans would love to celebrate, hey, we beat up on a Big Ten team.
It's not as good, but fans got into and traveled to go see Tennessee play Indiana in the Gator Bowl a couple years ago, and they were a mid-level, Big Ten team in terms of program stature. So I think it would still be fun.
At the same time, you had people, and maybe this was just people who were so down on Butch Jones, but you had people, oh, who cares about playing Nebraska in the Music City Bowl? It's like, really, Nebraska's kind of a name. I realize they weren't very good, but they're kind of mirror image to your program in terms of that one made sense, and yet there were a lot of people that yawned over Nebraska.
Yeah.
So
I do think just because of the projection of the program, the way the season went, no matter the opponent, fans are excited about where Tennessee is headed and will support no matter what. So.
It gets to the we'll take any bowl you want on the upswing.
Right.
The first was the Gator Bowl that Butch went to, and they packed it for Iowa. Was it Iowa they played? And then they played Northwest. Yeah.
Nebraska and Music City. You mentioned that was on the way down
at
8-4, a disappointing 8-4 versus an exciting 6-6 or 8-4.
Yeah, which is bizarre.
The ultimate would be Outback versus Penn State to me.
Very good. All right. When we come back, new coaches always talk about changing the culture. Got to fix the culture. Has Josh Heupel already fixed the culture? We'll talk about that when we come back.
I just hear those sleigh bells jingling, ring ting a tingling too. Come on, it's lovely weather, stay right together with you. Outside